A lot of doctors coming together to make the world better, because guess what? Nobody's coming to save us. We need to do what's best for the patient, and it's all up to us.
AI isn't just changing dentistry, it's completely redefining it. Tune into BYTE SIZED Podcast, the dental AI and tech podcast, and stay ahead of the curve.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the BYTE SIZED Podcast. Now, we have assumed, well, in this AI space, there's a lot of resistance to AI in the healthcare. We've thought that it was 100% about fear of job loss, fear of change. But the real reason AI keeps stalling has almost nothing to do with the technology itself. And so today we have Dr. Val Torres. He's an MD, an MBA, and a Chief Operating Officer of the Health Board Advisors, where healthcare companies are built from seed to scale. He's also a Chief Executive Officer at the Latino Executive Exchange. He collaborates and advocates for AI-first leadership, education, and workforce development across the Latin diaspora, Iberia, and emerging markets globally with the organization called Next Innovation Lab. It's a virtual innovation lab helping healthcare professionals across multiple countries become AI literate. He also serves as an operational leader within the Global Summits Institute, leading their Latin American arm. And this June, Dr. Torres will be speaking at the Global Medical and Dental AI Summit in London, where his focus will be on humanizing AI adoption by building trust and community across international healthcare ecosystems. So I want to welcome you to the show, Dr. Torres. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Good morning. Grateful and blessed to be here.
Good. I'm excited to get into this. You know, most of our audience are they're dentists.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking a little bit more broadly about AI adoption and AI education, kind of healthcare wide, because that's your specialty. But a lot of this, not a lot of it, almost everything that we've talked about in our prep call is extremely relatable to the dental industry and healthcare in general. So I'm really excited to have you on. You're the first guest I've had on that's be able to speak about kind of this topic. So I appreciate it. So you're involved in a ton of stuff, man.
Yes.
Like it took me a while when we were first like talking to figure out, wait, he's doing this and this and this and this and this. And I thought, does this guy have a family? Does he have any friends? Is he just working constantly? What are you up to, man? You're involved in a lot of stuff.
Man, I'm just passionate about helping people, and I feel like we're all here for a greater purpose. You know, and I'm a lot of things, but I'm not lazy, and I really get myself busy, get things done, for sure.
I like it. That's great. Well, just really quick, just touch on the companies that we mentioned: the Next Innovation Lab, the medical, the Latino Executive Exchange, and then the other group, the Global Institute. Just tell me about those three companies really quick.
Latino Executive Exchange, an AI first Latino leadership society that brings together leaders to learn about AI and to learn and move forward in an AI first world. Global Summits Institute, 160 countries with doctors, dentists, and everyone in between in healthcare, engaging the profession to make things better. Global Health Impact Network and funds, same mission, vision, but more on the entrepreneurial side. A lot of doctors coming together to make the world better, because guess what? Nobody's coming to save us. We need to do what's best for the patient, and it's all up to us. You know, we're going to be patient someday, so let's get things going.
Yeah. And the other thing is, where were you raised? Because you're in the Bahamas, you're from the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Because I freaking love your accent.
Trinidad and Tobago, actually. That's where the accent is from.
Okay.
So I am Hispanic, but I'm one of those, English is my first language. So
right.
Yeah.
How many languages do you speak?
So I speak a little of Spanish, Portuguese, but English is the most
The
fluent
primary?
I'm in, but I speak multiple dialects of English as well, like the Caribbean
Yeah.
Creole as
Yeah. Yeah.
well. It's amazing.
I love it. It's great. I love your accent. So,
Thank you.
matter of fact, I was just in the Bahamas like about a month ago. And I'm like, God, he's from the Caribbean somewhere because he sounds just like everybody on the island that I was on. So, anyway, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. All right. So, you're basically connecting educational institutions. It
Yes.
sounds like. I mean, that you're really like integrated into the educational platforms
Yes.
across the world, or lots of countries. You say 160 countries? Is that what you said
Global Summits
are
Institute,
involved?
they're all over the place. And I support Dr. Shah and the amazing work that he's doing. But yeah, everything is global these days.
Yeah. Dr. Shah is the doctor who has been putting together the Global Medical and AI Summit that's going to be
Yes.
held in June in London, which
Mhm.
anybody listening who is uh, even interested in the at all with AI, the inflection point of AI in the healthcare industry needs to come to this event. There's over 100 medical doctors, dentists that are going to be speaking all about different types of subjects related to AI and the integration of AI in the medical industry, with a focus on trying to come up with or establish some kind of an ethical and compliant way in which to start using AI, because
Mhm.
AI is moving so fast. It's just moving so fast right
Oh,
now
yeah.
that the conversations around HIPAA compliance and cybersecurity and how to like implement within your own practice. And I mean, there's just tons and tons of conversations that haven't been had yet because there's it's brand new. It's like a brand new day.
No, of course,
So
of course.
anyway, yeah, anybody, and you're going to be speaking. What's your topic going to be when you come out and speak?
So I'm going to be speaking on AI, Latin America, emerging markets, and building trust and community, because I feel like that's most important in 2026.
Yeah. There's just so much going on. It's crazy. I'm studying this stuff every day, all day long. I can't even
Mhm.
keep up with it. So do you feel the same way?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very
Pretty wild.
humbling experience, to be honest.
So so you're mostly working with Latin American countries,
Yes.
particularly, is that correct? Okay. What so and you're in your education, you're focused on education. You work with tons and tons of students, tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of students
Yes.
that are okay. So where are you seeing the levels of AI literacy, kind of globally? What are you seeing happening? Like, is AI becoming more adopted in the States? Is it moving as quick in, say, Latin American countries as it is in the States? And where's the level of literacy in terms of AI implementation?
So right now, most pre-med, medical school, and dental students, it's like they're completely unaware of AI outside of what can help them get their coursework done faster. They're using tools like ChatGPT. It's not like they're not like understanding what they're doing. There's like some blind trust, but
Hmm.
there's some fear as well. There's gaps in the middle, like of course, but those gaps are like real literacy, right? And we kind of need to do better. Like I feel like clinicians, they can use the AI tools fluently, but it needs to be done in layers, starting from students.
So I heard I had a guest on a few months back, and I forget which country it was. I think it was in the Middle East somewhere, but they've created an AI kind of track at the school, and I don't even remember the school, but there is a track of education, or maybe a couple classes or something like that they have actually created, developed, and included inside of the educational system for a medical student. And I'm wondering if you're seeing things like that happening, or is it that organizations like the organizations you're working with are kind of like tangential educational platforms to help kind of like in a parallel way
Yeah.
help educate medical students? Is that so? You see what I'm getting at? It's like, is it in the actual curriculum, or is there support education that's kind of like coming alongside of the traditional curriculum?
So right now it's a lot of support
Okay.
systems in place because like healthcare has always been the slowest to innovate. It's so siloed. So everyone's pitching in once you have students graduate or in residency or after their attendings, and it's kind of it works right now, but it's not where it needs to be.
And why do you say that? Where does it need to be?
It needs to be present from the start. Like ideally, if I had my way, we should be teaching AI from like middle school because it's just so important. But I feel like you should start the latest you should start for healthcare professionals should be the first semester of pre-med because it is
Mhm.
moving so fast that you need to constantly be on top of your game or else you're going to get left behind.
Well, so the problem that I see with that, or the problem I think will
Mm.
happen, is that by the time you build a curriculum around AI, whatever aspect of AI you're going to talk about, by the time you get the curriculum built, it's already out of date because the software and the models are moving so fast. I have courses that I've
Yes.
done, like presentation courses about AI, and by the time I get done developing the course and I go present it 3 or 4 times, I'm having to go back and redo the damn course because it's like, "Oh, just kidding, we don't do it that way anymore. It's now done this way."
Yes.
So how do you, like, stay flexible and kind of on point developing curriculum around AI when it's moving so fast? Like, how do you handle that?
So think of it as continuing medical education, but on
Okay.
steroids, right? Like it's amazing because it moves so fast and you need to keep up with it. But at the same time, I choose to be positive. There's an opportunity there. There's always going to be the need. And the person who does it the cheapest, fastest, and has the most fun while doing it, they're gonna win.
Yeah,
That is how I really see it.
yeah.
And who makes it the most human experience, they're gonna win in the end, for sure.
So as you're coordinating curriculum,
Yes,
right, to, like, how are you most of the stuff is done online, correct?
yes.
So these are all online courses that anybody can join from anywhere in the world. Um, like, where you start, like, where's a basic beginning point where you like kids are coming up, they're getting into medical school, they have probably some level of education around AI because it's just being injected into everything. So where are you starting? You're saying, "Hey class, this is Chat GPT." Okay, set up an
Yeah.
account.
Well,
Like, where how do you approach the subject?
Well, the beauty of it is a lot of these kids have used AI. They're not masters of it yet. A lot of kids they use AI to do their homework, like
Yeah, 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 they're writing
yeah,
their papers with it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So they know what Chat GPT is. They just don't know the
yeah,
dangers and they don't know how to use it properly. um it
yeah.
it's challenging where you gotta to teach them like, hey, this is how data works, this is how privacy works, this is
Mhm.
how you put prompts in, this is how you make it sound more human,
Got it.
the nuances of that. But Adrian, you would find that teaching young people, it's surprisingly easy compared to teaching
Yeah.
like the older generation, those 50 and
Yeah.
above
Yeah.
who are used to everything on paper. Those are the
Yeah.
people that they're most challenging. The kids, no big deal, right?
Yeah. There's yeah, I would agree. The same thing, when I'm talking to dentists, if I'm
Yeah.
talking to a dentist that's come out of school, they're like, "Oh, I get this." And then if you're talking to a dentist that's 60, they're like, "I don't get this. I know it's important, but what's happening?" You know what I mean? It's like, so um Google launched, I think it's still in beta.
Yeah.
It's a large language model called MedPalm. Have you used MedPalm?
I have not.
Yeah, it's a large language model backed by Google
Mhm.
specifically for healthcare and medical doctors. So it's kind of like, rather than going to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and asking it questions, it's a database that
Mhm.
has been curated with medical data, right? So it's supposed to be for studying and educating around the medical industry with content that has been filtered
Mhm.
and qualified as um, you know medical approved types of information. It's called MedPalm, MEDPALM. And I can guarantee you that your students, probably some of them, are using this to do their studying. And I know that they have some dental content in there.
Mhm.
Um, but this idea of like developing large language models that are narrow in their scope but go deep on a particular subject is kind of like kind of the future of large language models. I really
Yep.
feel like
Of course.
very, very nuanced, specific large language models.
Of course,
That might
Adrian.
be.
And Adrian, I feel
Yeah.
like there are two different kinds of educators. You have ones
Okay.
who they want to use AI, but they don't want their students to use AI. And then there's me.
To study.
Yeah, and there's me.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person, I'm like, AI is gonna be there long before we're gone. It's probably gonna get bigger than us. So we
Yeah.
need to learn how to use it early on. I encourage my students, use it as much as possible without breaking honor codes, of course, and without breaking the
Yeah.
law.
Yeah. Right.
But use it as much as possible. We're just gonna teach you how to use it safely and responsibly and effectively. And they seem to
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
like the freedom of that because that's what AI is, right? It's supposed to build bridges, break down barriers, break down silos. We're not supposed to make people feel like they're in a box.
Yeah. 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 And frankly, if you don't create some level of transparency and openness to use the large language
Mhm.
models in an ethical way in terms of the educational system, kids are just going to start using it anyway. You're not going to be able to control it. I mean, this is the whole problem. The entire educational industry, even outside of medical. I mean, my kids are all, they just all left the house. I'm a empty nester now. I have 4 kids, and they started
Congratulations.
coming to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I should get an award. They're
Yeah.
not dead, and they're fairly healthy and happy human beings. So, uh, but I remember like a couple years ago, just after ChatGPT launched, all my kids came to me and they're like, "I got to write this paper, and it needs to be done, by the end of the week, and I haven't started on it yet." And I'm like, "Well, let's go to Chat." I mean, let's learn how to use this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So so yeah, rather than me helping them write their paper, I started encouraging them to use Chat. So I don't even think you can get the parents
Yeah.
to not use stuff like LLMs to help write their kids' papers. I think it's
It's
just
the with Adrian. It's the what's in it for me, right? The with
what's in it for me.
That's
Yeah,
how
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you hook the older guys right? You tell them like, hey, you use Chat GPT, something that takes you 2 days to get done. You're done in a couple minutes. More golfing time for you,
Yeah.
right? That's what it is.
You're right. Yeah, parents get like, I can't keep. I got more
Yeah.
important things to do than help write this paper. So, okay. So, what? So, since you are kind of, you've got a global perspective.
Yes.
It's unique. Not a lot of people have a global perspective. What's the structurally? What is the difference between AI adoption in the States versus, say, Latin America? Can you give us kind of a perspective on that?
So AI adoption, it's better in the States because in the US, we're more of a capitalist for profit society.
It's
And
freaking capitalists.
yeah, and AI is money. You see the stock markets, you see all of these things. Like there's a lot of money versus like in Latin America where the economy there, the markets, they're pretty virgin when it comes to AI. I can't say they're not competitive. They're just not as saturated as we are here in the US. The issue is trust. It's not something that has been around for a very long time, so people need to adjust to that. That's what's causing the issues. But um, AI is going to be big, say within 10 years or so. Like we're seeing big moves in Latin America.
Yeah. Are there political or cultural limitations to AI adoption in Latin American countries versus the States, or vice versa?
So in Latam, the laws are a little more welcoming for people in the AI space. Regulations are a little lower. I know the
Okay.
US changes laws with every presidency, but Latin America, it's easier to break into. Traditionally, the language has been a barrier, uh, Portuguese or Spanish, and
Hmm.
that's what's made it difficult for Americans to really break into the market. And it's all about who you know, not really what you know. Um, but
Okay.
when it comes to AI implementation, there's a culture of, hey, this is how we've always done it, so why change? Because these countries, they're not capitalist. Money does not motivate them as much as it would in the United States. Where it does motivate them is mostly, hey, we can save money putting AI in these areas. That is how they see it. They're more people focused versus profit focused.
So there's less regulation,
Yes.
as far as you can tell, but the way in which Latin American countries are adopting AI
Yes.
is not driven by a profit model.
Yes.
Is that fair?
It's not purely driven by a profit model. Like not everything is black and white. But we also need to consider the cost of a lot of these products and services. A lot of these countries, they don't have massive economies like the US. They can't afford big, expensive, fancy things all day, every day. So they look at these costs, and some things they're just not cost effective um, coming from the
Mm.
US into these countries because Americans have a very high cost of living compared to other countries, even though they get paid more usually.
Yeah.
But cost, we gotta always consider cost.
So this probably has a lot to do or hinges on the healthcare systems, because here in the States, wherever you land on the spectrum of our healthcare system
Yes.
and how it's run, um, the doctors, well, I'm asking a question. The doctors, dentists here in the States probably, I would assume, make more money because they
Mhm.
don't have national, federalized healthcare systems.
Yes.
They probably have more profit, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay. So they have more money to spend on marketing or
Mhm.
investment into improving their practices.
Yes.
Whereas in Latin American countries, are the healthcare systems nationalized? Most of them?
So they're closer to universal healthcare models. We
Okay.
also need to understand, like, in these countries, students aren't expected to take out massive student loans. So yes, in the US, doctors are compensated more, but they're compensated based on the fact that 10, 15, 20 years of their lives, they were students, and you have all of that interest on student loans compounding.
Right.
So that's something we need to consider.
Okay, so let me give you an example of where we can kind of like dig in on this issue, because I think that the structure
Yes.
of healthcare, how healthcare is run in the States and how it's run in Latin American countries is fundamentally different. And the investment that's being created in the States, um, because there is a profit model and there's
Yes.
more money to be spent on technology, just fundamentally shifts the way that AI is adopted. So let me give an example. So in the dental industry, um, there's about two or three companies that kind of like are leading the charge of uh, like AI X-ray diagnostics. Okay,
Yes.
there's Pearl. Pearl's a great company. There's Overjet. There's Vidya. I think it's Vidya AI as the other one. There's like three or four big companies, and basically what they've developed is they've developed a database of millions and millions of X-rays. They train a large language model to analyze the X-rays, recognize disease, and then create a report like in seconds that the dentist could then look at to support his or her analysis or their case that they're going to present. So it just basically helps you to, it's like a second opinion
Yes.
kind of an idea, right? So these companies all got started a few years ago. I know Pearl was starting to develop their product, I think back in like 2019, even before ChatGPT came out, because the technology of analyzing X-rays was, and then training a large language model was available, I guess, because I think that I think it was probably back in that time. Probably, fact check me on that. But anyway, so these companies, they go to market, and there's no regulation. There's very little regulation, I should say. I shouldn't say no, but very little regulation on this software being used in the dental industry. But it's a really, really great product, right? Because I mean, the end goal here is providing better healthcare to the patient. And if AI can recognize disease better than a human eye can, or be more precise or catch things that have been missed, then that's a good product, right?
Yes.
So these companies come into the market, and they're driven, that the development of the product is driven by the fact that they can sell the product.
Mm-hmm.
If they couldn't sell the product, they wouldn't exist. So the kind of the litmus test in the States for a lot of software is, can you sell it first? If it can be sold, then what happens is those companies go to PE or venture-backed companies, and they raise $100 million to then continually develop the product. And so what you have is you have a development process here that is driven by sales,
Yes.
not necessarily driven by doctors saying this is the product that we need. It's like companies are developing things, throwing them into the market, seeing if they stick, and then they go, oh, okay, yeah, this is needed, right? So that's the way the process runs. Now, if you were to take that model to Latin America, right, where you don't have as much investment capital, the doctors probably don't have as much money to work with. It's like throw money at a new product and test something. Then does it fail in Latin America? Does that model fail?
So
What are your thoughts about that?
so the model doesn't work um, as well as it would in the US. The market in Latin America is a little different. So how it works is there's quantity of healthcare professionals versus quality. Like for instance, for Brazil,
Okay.
there's around 400,000 dentists alone in Brazil. I believe that's maybe double the number in the US. There's a
Yeah, I think there's there's like 115,000 practices, like
yes.
190,000 doctors.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Or
Brazil is a
dentists.
little smaller than the entire US. So you
Mm.
have quantity, and yes, they may be paid less, but there's more of them. So think of more potential investors. Now, when you bring a product to market, it's all about market fit in Latin America. Are the people gonna use it? Are the patients gonna like it? Are they gonna feel safe and trust it to use it for themselves and their families? And most importantly, the governments, the ministries of health, the health departments, are they going to adopt these products into what they're already doing? Because we're at the stage where they're implementing things. It's not as quick as in the US, but they're starting to implement things and they're starting to learn which ones actually do what they say they're going to do, which ones
Yeah.
help the communities, and which ones help them to save money. It's not so much about the million or billion-dollar evaluations. Like, yes, money is important. Green is the most important color anywhere, but they are more focused on how well it performs in the market. That because that determines the long-term sustainability. That's what they're looking at.
Is there so if regulation is, according to you, regulation is lower in these
Yes.
countries, um, if Pearl or Overjet goes into, say, Brazil,
Yes.
is there some kind of a global decision of whether or not that product can be offered in the country? I mean, is there some oversight, or could Pearl just start selling the product to doctors in Brazil?
So there's probably oversight. These companies are probably there, but
Oh, I know. I'm pretty sure they are.
yeah,
I'm not familiar with the process of
it,
bringing a new product to market in
it's
another
just
country.
yeah, just it's heavily affected by how willing people are to buy the product, to use the product. And if
Mhm.
it's something that's brand new, if it's unfamiliar and they've been using something else that works well for them for decades, then why change, right? You got to adjust your value proposition a little bit and
Yeah.
the what's in it for me. That's where culture comes in. You need to understand the psychology, the neuroscience behind sales and selling uh, to get people to buy and to implement products.
How is that different in Latin America? How does a doctor make a decision differently in Latin America versus the States to
Yeah.
adopt a particular piece of software?
So in Latin America, uh, the culture is it's different. So Latin Americans are more of emotionally driven. It's like how I feel about the product. Do I like it? Does it make me
Mhm.
feel good? Does it drain my wallet? Does it really help my patient? What is it gonna do with the patient provider physician dynamic? That's
Okay.
really how it works there versus in the US where it's like it's strictly dollars and cents. Like I
Yeah.
have I have a
Does it
pro
make me
yeah,
more money?
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's probably a little bit me saying, does it make me more money is probably not directly correct because I mean, I've worked with thousands and thousands of dentists, and almost all of them are more concerned about their Hippocratic oath and providing great health, health care and
mhm,
oral health to their patients. That I don't think that they make decisions based purely on profit, but it is part of, like, if
it
they're
is.
not going to spend $500
Mhm.
a month unless it supports their patients and isn't a drain on their pocketbook. So
Yes.
And you're saying there's less emphasis in Latin America on the profitability, but more of the fit. Does it fit within the culture? Does it
Yes.
feel right? Okay. All right. Yeah, that's really interesting. So have you worked with companies that have wanted to go, take their product to market in Latin America? Do you do any of that kind of stuff?
So we work with a lot of startups in Latin America. We work with a lot of associations, and they do want to break into the American market. The US has a very interesting a visa system for entrepreneurs. So you come into the US, you invest a certain amount of money, and of course that creates jobs, and you can get a visa to legally uh, live in the United States, and that's very
Right.
attractive for doctors and dentists, particularly in Brazil. But a lot of them who are still practicing, there are programs in the US where they can come over and do a couple years of like a residency, and then they can practice in the US. There's also a huge workforce shortage for healthcare professionals, and that really pushes a lot of them from those countries to come into the US. The pipeline is not where it needs to be yet, but when those doctors and dentists come over, they bring their entrepreneurship with them. Because in Latin America, innovation, it's more normalized than it really
Mhm.
is here. At least the mindset is. It's more of a natural drive to work hard to make money because there's less opportunities there to do so.
Right. Okay. So so I haven't had I'm not familiar with the idea that we don't. So you said that there's a lack or
Yes,
we need more healthcare professionals in the States.
yes, we do.
That's correct?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Like, it seems like there's a dentist on every corner in Utah where I'm at.
Yes.
Um, so where's the data behind that? That the States needs more healthcare professionals. I wasn't familiar with that.
I mean, it's online. I don't have the
Yeah.
exact numbers right now.
Should I go to
Uh,
ChatGPT and do a
yeah,
search?
yeah. No, but of course. But I know in my state of Florida, there's a lot
Uh-huh.
of um people moving into the state. Migration, it changes, but people go to Florida to retire, and of course, older people need more access to healthcare. So we need more healthcare professionals here. I know it's probably within the hundreds of thousands that we
Really?
need right now. And it's gonna be getting worse because the boomer generation, they're getting older.
Yeah.
They're retiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how
Yep.
the numbers work. Um, but there's a shortage for sure. Compare that to Brazil that has like double the number of just dentists. So you could imagine the
Yeah.
doctors and like everybody else. Like they probably have massive numbers. Cuba is one of those countries as well where there's more doctors per capita than in the US, I believe.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
A lot of these
That's interesting.
countries, Adrian, when you go into healthcare, they don't see it as a get rich quick kind of thing. There's no inherent status to being a doctor. They just see it as a job, but it just happens to be a job that pays the bills and it helps people, and it's a noble profession. Teaching is seen the same way because teachers create all other professions.
Hmm. I like that. That's interesting. So let me shift a little bit and ask another question that I've been curious about. So there is probably an alignment issue
Yes.
with products that are being developed, softwares that are being developed for the medical industry by technology companies.
Yes.
It kind of pushing the idea into the industry, trying to see if it can catch, versus products and services being developed by the medical professionals themselves,
Yes.
which would have, I would assume, would have maybe a better fit, right?
Yes.
If a dentist develops a product or a software that solves a problem for his or her practice, you come at it from a different perspective versus a technology company that might have an advisory board that are
Yes.
medical professionals, but they're developing a product to solve a problem, but it is typically driven by venture capital money. And so
Yes.
the primary driver is profitability and potentially going public or, whatever.
Yeah.
So do you see that there's an issue with that? How and from what direction products and services are being developed?
So when you have products and services developed by like a tech company, like purely a tech company, you have the issue with market fit. They tend to look really nice. They look fancy. The marketing is great. They're big budgets. They spare no expense. But I see where they fall short is the market fit, how they're being used, the user interface, um, the ease of use, and the end user. If the end user is the patient, how is the patient's experience with this product? Are they really going to use it? Do they like it? Do they trust it? Does the product follow the normal ways the patient would use this? Are they going to integrate that product into their daily lives, or is it going to be a pain in the butt? Just to add an extra step, something that's
Right.
not necessary. That's when the tech companies do things. Usually, there's always exceptions, but when the physicians and the healthcare providers uh, have products and services, it comes from the perspective of, hey, I've been treating this patient. These are the problems that I've been having in helping them
Right.
achieve better outcomes. um, Here's my solution. I want to implement this solution because of XYZ that I've noticed that have caused
Yeah.
the patient worse outcomes. Let me try it. Let me see how I can really help the patient in a purely purpose driven manner, not necessarily profit driven. But let's be honest, the way the world works is the bigger the problems you solve, the more profits there are to be made.
Yeah.
That's just how capitalism works. But I feel like doctors and healthcare providers, they're more incentivized to solve problems than to chase profits.
Yeah. So an issue that's kind of come up, and this is become kind of like very, I don't know what the word is, but just prominent, or not prominent, but some software companies, um, regardless of the size, have come
Yes.
into the dental industry. They've developed a product or a service. They begin selling the product, and because we're dealing with just completely new technology,
Yes.
there are cybersecurity issues and EPHI issues, HIPAA compliance issues that we've never had to deal with before.
Yes.
Okay. And there have been some significant lawsuits
Mm-hmm.
already in the dental industry. And I would imagine in healthcare wide, I'm not familiar with anything outside of dentistry, but you might. So the development of these products and services is moving so fast from a profit driven model that there is less scrutiny on cybersecurity and EPHI issues. So right now, there's no ethical governing body
Yes.
that is overseeing the kind of the inflection point of AI coming into the medical industry. And I know this is one of the reasons why Dr. Shaw has set up the the Global Medical and Dental AI Summit is to try and get a conversation around how the hell do we handle all this, right? Because there's issues that are coming up that we've never talked about before.
Yes.
So, so it seems like precedent that the legal precedent is being established not by a governing body that has developed or curated a way in which a piece of software could be developed in an appropriate manner and then delivered to the industry. Rather, it's like everybody, it's a free for all. It's an Oklahoma Sooner, land rush. And then there's lawsuits start popping up, and it's like, oh, we're not going to do that. Oh, we're not going to do that. Oh, we're not going to do that. And so the precedent is the legal system. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it seems kind of backwards to me. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we're just going to find out who gets sued and we won't do that kind of thing. Right.
Of course.
So is there any conversation at your level looking globally at, like, how do we build like a way in which there can be an ethical implementation of AI in the medical industry? Are you seeing those being developed? Is there any kind of oversight or governing body or anything like that?
Adrian, I love
Anywhere?
this. I love this question. So I am very passionate about doing the right thing. And this is where I love what Dr. Shah is doing. It really excites me. So he took it upon himself to co-found the Healthcare Intelligence Board, which is a doctor-led, doctor-operated, doctor-owned global AI governance board that spans many different industries. Doctors, as you probably know, we're the most risk averse, or some of the most risk averse. Doctors tend to get sued a lot because, one, they have a lot of money, or there's a perception of that is, and two,
well, they also have insurance
and malpractice
plans
insurance. We gotta
malpractice insurance. Yeah.
We gotta have
That
that.
people love to go after.
Yeah, they love to go after these folks with malpractice insurance, but we do a lot of work that can cause issues. We can cause injuries because our area of expertise is so narrow. Think clinical healthcare and tech and AI. Those are areas outside of our core areas of expertise. There's risk involved with using all of these products and services. Just like business, there's a lot of rules in business that doctors are not taught in medical school. So there is a lot of risk. Now, the beauty of the Healthcare Intelligence Board is we mitigate these risks by working together. Yes, the Global Summits Institute is a doctor-to-doctor network, but we're not just medical doctors. We have the chiropractors, the PhDs. We have everyone who has a doctorate, who has a terminal degree, subject matter expert in their particular field, working together for the collective good. Now, I happen to be the ambassador for the Latin diaspora and Iberia on that board. So Spain, Portugal, being the Iberian Peninsula. And what we see is the need for leadership where you understand the particular situation with the culture and the economics and the people in particular regions, and you work together with other regions that either have strong economies or they have different regulations, and we find something that works, sharing knowledge and best practices. And this is where Dr. Shah is doing some really amazing work. He's bringing together a lot of the countries from the GCC. I'm bringing countries from Latin America, the Caribbean, and we're sharing knowledge, best practices, pooling resources to help each other out. When it comes to regulation, and this is very important, doctors are incentivized to do the right thing, Adrian. Think about it. Doctors don't want to do anything wrong to jeopardize their medical licenses and their reputations. Right. So whether or not they have ethics they're forced to do the right thing for our personal self-interest. That's how we look at it. Many of them, or most of them, do it for the right reasons, of course. But you need someone with that mindset where they are focused on the purpose of what they're doing for the patient versus the profits of doing that. Because when the patient is happy, those patients, they are taxpayers, they're family members, they contribute to the countries, and it really helps everybody. That's the way doctors see it at Global Summits Institute and the HIB. You have to be a doctor or have a doctorate in something to have a voice
Right.
and voting rights. It's one of these rules. It's non-negotiable because these people, they're incentivized to do the right thing. And that's what we need, people with integrity to do the right thing in AI.
Yeah. So your answer to this is there has to be a conversation.
Yeah.
Like doctors just frankly need to get involved to kind of take control of or establishing some kind of an understanding about what should or should not be developed and what should get into the market. I keep thinking like I'm all for. I mean, I'm in the marketing industry, right?
Yeah.
And I've developed software. My company's developed software, and we go to market, and we come from a perspective of like, well, all right, does this solve a problem, and can we make some money? I mean, that's where we're from, right? That's where we come from. But what I've seen over the last 2 years are hundreds and hundreds of just shitty products, right? It's some dude, some guy who doesn't care about the Hippocratic Oath of physicians. And it's just like, I think I can sell this thing, right?
Yes.
And there's no compliance. There's behind the veil of how these softwares are built, there's all sorts of cybersecurity issues, right? And because it's so, like, when you start looking at how softwares are being built with AI, it is so freaking complex. Like, it would be like me thinking I can go do a heart transplant by watching a YouTube video. You know what I mean? It's like, it ain't going to happen, right? And that's like a doctor going, oh, there's a new product on the market. It's a AI software product. Oh, it looks cool. Let's just do it. But they don't see the infrastructure and all of the gaps and the holes and the cybersecurity issue. Like it's so freaking complex. So like, how do you create some kind of a way in which companies like us or Pearl or Overjet or the other 1,000 different AI software companies have to go through a vetting process?
Yes.
Right? They've got to like pass a test or something like that, right? And there needs to be like an understanding globally that like every doctor needs to go, I need to ask these 10 questions. And these are the right questions. And these are the answers that I need in order to know whether or not this software that I'm going to adopt is going to get me sued. Yeah. Right? Or whatever. Like that's just not around because nobody knows the questions to ask. They don't, because the conversations are the problems with how softwares are built now. We haven't had these conversations. Nobody's talking about tokenization. That's like the cost of like using our large language model to do something. Nobody's talking about tokenization. Nobody's talking about should an AI in the background learn information from one particular practice and then leverage that information to do something for another practice? Like for example, let's just use phone calls. Okay. So there's a lot of products in the market and there's a huge freaking lawsuit that just happened about this. I won't mention, go look it up, but a massive lawsuit. Okay. An AI system is listening to phone calls and analyzing that phone call. So patient calls in, doctor front desk picks it up. It's listening to the phone call. It's taking that conversation. It's analyzing it to understand whether or not the patient was managed appropriately. Okay. Do we miss anything? Did we ask the right question? Great, great product. Okay. But then that AI who's listened to this conversation takes that learning and goes and trains another AI. And there's EPHI information from that call. Should an AI that's listened to this call use information to train on another call? That's not something that we've ever talked about. That could be a huge cybersecurity issue. I don't know. Might
Of
be.
course.
Okay. So, like, we don't even know the questions to ask,
So,
right?
of course.
So so getting back to the point that there needs to be some conversations
Yeah.
between doctors as a whole. Everybody needs to kind of get involved to some level, just understand this new landscape that we're in. And there needs to be some kind of a governing oversight committee, or I don't know, something where doctors can go and they can say, hey, governing body, is this company that's selling this product, if they pass the litmus test of, like, you know, covering so I don't get sued, there's nothing like that. And there needs to be.
No, of course, Adrian, I agree 100%. What you're asking about is, it's called clinical due diligence. That is when you
Sure.
have a product or service and it's meant for a particular end user or target audience. You try to bring in the experts who would be involved in that whole process of making the product, selling the product, marketing the product. And that is really what it is. Like, for instance, you would not have an orthopedic surgeon doing clinical due diligence for something in dentistry, right? Maybe certain parts of it, but you'd expect a dentist because that's their area of expertise, right? Yes, everybody is a smart person these days, but you would not expect a surgeon to do your marketing, and you would not expect a marketer to do surgery on your grandma, right? It's the same thing.
Right.
Clinical due diligence. It just happens that in healthcare, the stakes are higher. We're not just talking about failed products when we consider
Talk about
lawsuits.
lives.
We're talking about people's lives, people's uh, ways of providing for themselves if they get injured or handicapped or disabled. So we need to look at it from that perspective. Now, the beauty of clinical due diligence by doctors is that doctors are very smart people. The paradox of education is, the more education you receive, the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. At least that's how it's supposed to be. So we
Right.
naturally surround ourselves with other smart people who can cover our blind spots, because you don't know what you don't know. When it comes to AI and dentistry, the dentists who are in entrepreneurship would surround themselves by the tech geniuses. So naturally, they kind of cover each other's blind spots. That's what we're trying to do as an AI governance board. Now, the beauty again of doctors is, we're very hardworking, resilient, smart people. So when problems arise, which they're going to, we can adapt.
Sure.
We don't just roll over and blame somebody else. We take accountability and we put the big boy pants on and we solve those problems, because if we don't, they're going to become our patients' problems, and those are very expensive lawsuits. So this is why
Right.
I like the HIB. We are positioned to get the job done, and any problem that comes our way, we can collectively solve these problems by working together. The number one soft skill, Adrian, that we're seeing is communication, breaking down silos so we can collaborate, cooperate, and co-innovate. That is something that it is very necessary in 2026, because AI healthcare, it's becoming more global. This is where the HIB and networks of doctors shine, because we don't know everything. We really don't. And this is something that we need to really develop, supporting each other, building communities, building resource networks, because AI is changing continuously. By the time you finish one course, there's something else. But you know what?
Yeah.
Having a board of healthcare professionals who you can depend on to make the right decisions. That's gold. That's what we really need.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think we're saying the same thing. It's just it's such a massive, big problem. It's like,
Yeah.
and it just requires people to be involved,
Yes.
and hopefully over the next 2 or 3 years, it settles a little bit and there will be more clarity in
Hmm.
the industry around, decision making and doing due diligence
Yes.
and so forth. So right now it seems like we're in the wild, wild west. So
Thoughts and prayers.
yeah, exactly. So when you go and speak at the dental AI, I mean, for those listening, I mean, these are the types of conversations that we're going to be having at the the Medical and Dental AI Summit in London, which I'll put a link to the summit in the description. And I would encourage any
Mhm.
dentist or doctor that's wanting to help and start setting a standard and be part of the change, part of the solution, right? Should definitely come to the summit. You're going to hear Dr. Torres talk, and there's going to be I think there's close to 100 doctors that are going to be speaking about different subjects. So a wealth of information to really help set the stage for what's happening in the industry. When you go and speak, what is it that you're going to speak about that's not going to be talked about by any other doctors? Your perspective, what are you going to try and land in your presentation?
Oh, so I'm a little non-conventional. I talk about the people side of AI, and this is something that nobody really talks about. A lot of doctors, they talk about the products and the services and how cool AI is. I speak from the heart where it's about the people and the patient. And yes, being AI first, but we're using AI to humanize healthcare. We're using AI
Mhm.
to simplify the human experience. So all that stuff that makes us feel less human, the stress, the burnout, the lack of
Yeah,
time being spent with our families, um, we can solve these problems and make our uh, lives on this planet a little more human and a little more enjoyable. And we kind of pass off everything to AI. I also speak a lot about culture, how people feel
mhm,
about AI. What are people's needs when it comes to AI? I know this is a really like touchy-feely kind of subject, talking about people's feelings. But at the end of the day, this is what business professionals call market research. You need to
yeah,
understand what the consumer expects from the product because when you meet their needs, that is where you make a sale. And for those of
yeah,
us who are incentivized by the dollar, that is where we should be focusing on. We just want to align people's values and expectations to make sure it's more of a compassionate capitalism kind of play versus a dog eat dog, all for profit, none for the patient kind of motivation.
yeah. I love it. Val, Dr. Torres, I called you Val. I don't know.
All
I can
good,
call you
man. All
Val,
good.
right? Okay. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you coming on the show,
Yes.
and I'll include your LinkedIn
Yes.
in the description as well. So if anybody wants to reach out to Val about something regarding what we've talked about today, please do. But I just want to tell you how much I appreciate it, and I'm excited to meet you in London.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. You have a great one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Bite Size Podcast. Tune in to stay up to date with everything dental AI and tech